What's up, y'all? This is Pigeon John over here with the shaved mustache looking all fresh and fish. Banana Republic, homeboy. Representing. You are tuned in now to
Moon Garden Media
podcast with my big homeboy,
Steve Bader.
Steve Bader.
Moon Man back there. Well done.
Let's hear it for the Moon Man.
Thanks, Moon Man.
Whoa, it's the bomb, homeboy.
We'll do it live.
Dude,
Hey, what's up?
that Indians game was cold, man.
Dude, it was, but it was so much fun.
It was fun.
It was so much fun.
That was your first remote.
That was my second remote.
No, well, okay, it was your first.
That was my first one
Your
with
first,
you.
okay, no, it was the first one using the microphones.
Correct.
In that format
Correct.
where there's drunk people all over the place, and yeah, so
Drunk? What are you talking about?
or they were
not.
merry.
They were not drunk.
They were making merry.
No, they weren't.
Okay.
They were loud and obnoxious and full of love.
They were full of love.
They
Okay.
were for the Indians.
Here we
And
are.
the fact that they won. I mean, that's it's a
Sage-
beautiful thing.
Hold on, let me do this. Sage Lewis in studio. They're 6-5.
Yeah,
They
that's
have
all
it-
right.
Their batting average is like 125.
It's bad.
They're 6-5.
It's bad.
They're
It's
6-5.
bad. But when
They
they're-
don't have to hit.
it
They're
doesn't
6-5.
matter. Yeah, exactly. Because guess why? The pitchers are killing it right now, and it's April, so it's fine. We start slow and then we pick it up. But what I'm more excited about is the NBA playoffs. They're coming.
Well,
They're coming.
About that, right?
Cleveland just limps in.
It's not.
They're limping in, and they're going to. They'll turn it on. It'll happen. Just I have faith. I do. I have you to thank for that because you told me
Listen,
a month and a half ago.
We're not talking about that yet. We're not.
Okay.
I know what you're going to bring up. We're not talking about that yet.
Can't talk about it yet.
What we are talking about, though, is the fact that if they do win tonight, and if Philly loses, we get the 3 seed.
Then we get the 3 seed.
And it's and everyone's been talking about this, right? It's a much easier road.
Yeah.
Much easier road to the.
If we stay at 4, then we get the
the
Indiana
finals.
Pacers and Victor Oladipo. So, yeah,
At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter.
Hey, you know what I'm happy about? Golden State got throttled by 40
Well, you know.
by the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
When have the Utah Jazz been relevant? Probably since Karl
Carlos
Malone and
Boozer.
Whoa!
Is that
Can't-
you allowed to
can't
say
bring
that
his-
name?
You
You allowed
can't
to
bring
say
that
that
name up. No, unfortunately, you
All
can't.
right, so
Yeah, he's. Well,
hey,
wow, we're getting
phone. Hey,
Wow, we're
Moon
live.
Man.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, hey, Kate, you got that?
Oh.
Kate. Okay, all right. So, Roddy, there's
Yeah,
before we start the show, there
Yeah.
could be a glitch, as we call it.
a glitch.
Well, the Team Foster washing machine has been out of order now.
You mean
for
Forrester?
Horrible
Team
turn of
Forrester,
events.
Team Forrester's
Horrible.
washing machine has been out of order for about 3 or 4 weeks now.
Okay.
And so we ordered a new one, and
Are you saying it could potentially show up
probably
today?
will be delivered during the show.
That's fantastic. So,
So-
do we need to pause the show, help them bring it in?
I don't even know what's going to happen. We'll see what happens. All right, that's all on Kate.
That's
That's all on Kate.
We'll figure it out.
All right, so what do we say?
That's pretty fun.
Let's do a show.
We've got a great show tonight. Ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to 330 to Go. I'm your host, Hank Forrester, coming to you live from Stakeout Studios overlooking the rolling plains of Hardesty Park. In tonight's episode, we have some special guests in studio from Second Chance Village. But before we do that, we're once again joined by the golden tones of Roddy Voorhees.
How you doing, Hank?
Living the dream, baby.
Just living the dream.
Living the dream. Tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, is brought to us once again by LaBelle's Barber Parlor. LaBelle's is located inside what is now known as the East End, which are the Goodyear Historical Buildings. Their state-of-the-art facility boasts big screen TVs, a pretty sweet coffee bar, and compressed air at every station. It's like being in a hunting lodge living room. They have recently added to their staff and now have more availability. Call 330-472-0497. Tell them that Hank sent you. You can find him on Facebook and online. And, well, boy, do they make guys look good.
Well, we're trying to set it up. It's going to happen sooner rather than later, but we want to do a live cut from their studio during the show.
I think we should.
So we'll do a remote, but the problem is I'm trying to figure out where we would sit in there and all that. So I'm working that out with them, but it should be sometime in May or June.
Can I make one correction?
What's that?
You did say good evening a little earlier.
Yeah,
it's 3:30 in the afternoon,
which is kind of cool because it's the first time ever that we're coming at 3:30, right?
I mean, I know, right?
If this thing catches on, it could be a thing. Right?
Afternoon.
That's all right.
Afternoon.
But most of the people will be tuning in and watching this after the fact.
Absolutely,
when they're sitting around the dinner table.
6 one way, half a dozen.
Our
another.
loyal listeners all watch this together on the TV. You know
they do. I know.
All right, folks. So right now, tonight, we're going to be talking Second Chance Village, and if you haven't been paying attention, it's been on the news lately. Ronnie had an opportunity to go and do a walkthrough last week, and once that happened, it actually spread some more word about Second Chance Village and what they've got going on there right now, to a point where it started showing up in the newspaper more so, and some other news media outlets as well, which was really cool. Because they actually credited 330 to Go's interview with seeing it and saying, "Hey, what's going on there?"
I'm still a little stunned by that.
We found that out last night. That was pretty cool.
So wait, what you're saying is not only do we bring the news, we're making news?
Well, it's not even that, right? I mean, it's just one of those things. We're an Akron show. We're based in the 330, and we're gonna take a look around at things that are going on in our area.
Absolutely.
And this is one of those things. Now, this has been on my radar for a while, and it's one of those things where you see a story and then you kind of forget about it. And then you see a story and it's a blip and you forget about it. And the issue that constantly brings up is those are people. And you got to remember that, because even though it's a story, those are people there.
Right.
Okay. And we have this tendency we live a very busy lifestyle in America. It's one of those deals where every day, all day, you take the kids to school, you go to work, you come home from work, you pick the kids up, you go, you take them to their activities, you sit down for dinner, and then you do the nighttime stuff where you do homework, and then you put them to bed, and it rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. And we get into these habits as people, and we get into the gotta go. And as a result, we don't always look around at our environment. We don't look around at our surroundings. We don't look around at the people that are in need, that are literally standing right next to us.
Right.
Okay. There's two stories I want to convey. One is the business card scenario, and the other is the Browns parade. I'm going to start with the Browns parade. So me and Moon Man went up to cover the parade, and if you remember correctly, it was -6.
It was cold.
It was -6 to -10 degrees that day.
It was cold.
We went to the Muni lot to check it out, to scope out the area, and then we went and we parked and went into it was like a coffee shop, little breakfast place, right? As we're walking to get there, there is a homeless man. He is laying in a sleeping bag, right? And he is laying on a Cleveland City grate because the heat is coming up through the grate. Yep. And he literally the middle of the sidewalk, laying on a grate. And the two of us, he's all loaded up in his gear, and I'm all carrying stuff, and we're in cover the Browns parade. That's our thought process. We're getting there to get set up, right? And we paused, we stopped, and we didn't know what to do, because it's not something you're confronted with every day, because we're in our busy life, right? We're in our busy taking care of kids. We're doing our thing.
Right.
So we both saw this guy, and we thought, you know what? My first thought was, man, it is ridiculously cold. This guy is actually in peril. Yeah. And so what we did, I don't know. We didn't get food because we were in a hurry, but we gave him hand warmers. So Steve had a bunch of these things that, you break them up and shake them.
Yep. And I use them all the time.
Yeah.
Being out and using your hands in the cold. And
he wasn't even like awake. It was bizarre because Steve touched him and went, hey buddy. And he kind of rolled over like all groggy. And you don't want to make suppositions, right? But we don't know what was going on with him. But, the point is, it was really downer moment for us to start our day that way, because we're looking at this guy and we're thinking we're going to go and we're about to cover this fun Browns parade, and this is how we're starting the day. It was just
yeah, it was cold at night.
Yeah. So there's that story, and then another one I like to convey, and this is where I'm going to turn when we get Sage in here. I'm going to turn it over to him and ask him some of these questions. But so there are folks all around Akron. You'll see them at corners, and they have their sign, and usually it's the same people at the same corners. And when I follow them, it's usually the same people at the same corners year after year after year. Like literally, I'm like when me and Kate will talk, I'm like, I saw Hat Guy today, or I saw Santa Claus guy today. Right? You know, they have definitive features, right? And they're always in the same place.
Right.
So what I used to do is when I first, when I was younger, I would give them some money and I would hand them a business card with it. Because the last 2 jobs that I've had previous to my current day job, when I owned the fence company, we needed guys to work out in the field. And when I worked at Schwendler's, guys worked out in the field doing both, window cleaning and pressure washing and all kinds of, so they were manual labor jobs. But what I would do is I would hand them a $5 or a couple bucks or whatever with a business card. And I never got a phone call, not one time. And when I didn't get a phone call after the 3rd or 4th time that I did it, I stopped giving them money, because it was the same guys, and their signs read, looking for work, need help. So I'll give them a couple bucks and a business card, and they never called. So it was like, that's where as a society, I think we get jaded. Okay. We have a tendency to change our thought process. And it's like, oh, it's Hat Guy. I'm not giving him any money because I've given him a business card 4 times and he's never called me once.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of psychology that goes into this topic, and for us to try and understand. But then on the flip side of that, you've got folks that truly do have nowhere to go, nowhere to turn to. They're hurt or disabled or a veteran or whatever, and they don't have options.
Right.
And that's where a place like this, like the Second Chance Village, comes up, right? So right now, without further ado, I'm going to bring up one of our he would be our guest of honor today.
He is a guest of honor.
A lot of people see him around Akron. They've seen him on the news. My kids call him the Hat Guy. Okay, so
dude, I'm telling you, that hat is pretty sweet right now.
They call him the Hat Guy.
He's not the Hat Guy you just spoke of.
All right,
let's be honest.
No, he's not that Hat Guy.
No, he's not that Hat Guy.
He's the Hat Guy.
He's the Hat Guy.
So the point is, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Sage Lewis.
Little cowbell.
All right, now
cowbell and everything.
Yeah, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hit the little thing, right?
Yeah. Watch. This is gonna be fun. And whoop.
Oh,
look at that! Now he's in the picture.
Is the magic of television. That's beautiful.
All right, you can adjust it however you want, Moon Man. You got it. All right,
Sage, how are you, buddy?
Man, I am awesome now that I'm here. You guys are awesome. This is a great show.
Well,
you got sound effects, cowbells, lighting.
We've evolved.
I love it.
And the thing is, right? That's why when we brought up our early history, it was always one of those deals where you're a DJ. You guys do this in a basketball arena format. Why don't you try doing something like this on your own?
Yes.
And we laughed.
And we're like, that's stupid. For
silly.
2 years, I said, that's dumb. Why are we going to do that?
Why would we do this?
So now here we are, and next thing you know, we got people seeing our little
Look
video.
at all the hearts and the thumbs.
We see people seeing our video, and next thing you know, they're showing up at your place to do interviews.
I love it, man.
That's a good thing.
See, it's the power, man. The power of the people.
It's the power of the people and power of social media.
Yeah,
so,
man.
All right, so Sage, tell us about yourself from an Akron perspective. I always, whenever we bring a guest on, I always ask, what's your connections to Akron? What's your pedigree as far as the around the area?
Yeah, I've lived in Akron. My wife is on the channel. She can probably give you the exact number. I'd say about 15 years, 18 years. I grew up in Medina, so I made the big trek east down Route 18. I've never really left Route 18 for the most part. I'm just going to keep going east on 18 until it dead ends, I guess. I don't know. But I moved my business here, and the reason is I was running my business out of my home, and I had a 750 square foot home, and we had an employee, and we were all three plus our dog working in a room much smaller than this, and we didn't have enough money to get a real office at that point in time, but we needed more space, and we found out that Highland Square in West Akron had these amazing 3-story houses. And so we moved from Medina, moved over to Highland Square, and then moved our business, that's Sage Rock Digital Marketing, up into our attic.
Okay.
And we've been in Akron ever since.
You guys are you still located in the Highland Square area?
No, we moved a little west down 18 by Pershing now.
Okay.
So we just bounce around 18.
Okay.
That's it.
But
I think as long as it's on 18, we're cool.
You keep
cool.
the main artery, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so you got your business, you got your home, you got reestablished here in Akron. Where'd you get this idea? How did this start?
Well, I think a lot about this question. I tend to consider, I think about why things happen and the philosophy behind a lot of things. And I think really the big catalyst was the Great Recession. So we were upwards of about 25 people, 25 employees at our Sage Rock, our digital marketing agency. And when that recession hit, it was like rats off a ship with these clients. Just everybody, that was the one thing that you could easily axe in your budget was your digital marketing budget. And so
like 08 maybe, or
yeah, right around that 08, 09, that's when that happened.
Okay.
And so that was a very traumatic time. We had to lay off a lot of people, and it still impacts me how negatively we affected these people's lives in that manner. It's just money. That's all it is. It's just business. It's just business. That's what business people like to say. It's nothing personal.
Right.
But I took it personally, and that really started me thinking about it being just business and how almighty the dollar and capitalism is or are. And I just started getting jaded by it all. That everything in business, when you have a lot of money, you start talking about really cool things like a 3-legged stool. It's not just about money. It's about helping our community and giving back. But I'll tell you what, as soon as you start going in the red, all that stuff is flushed down the toilet. It doesn't. And that's that's how business is. That's how capitalism is. Everything revolves around the money.
Right.
And I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but it just pisses me off. I just am tired of it. Am I allowed to say that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I
didn't know. Yeah.
The beauty of this show is it's free form.
All right, good.
And we're not regulated.
I love that.
We covered the Indians downtown on Friday.
Drunk.
We only had one. There was only one.
There were
bad
a few.
word,
No,
two bad words.
There were a few.
The one about Carl Santana. Yeah, we're not talking. That's not today's show. That's not today's show.
Nope.
All right. So then okay. So obviously the passion for humanity, right?
Yeah. I just needed something else. I needed more in my life.
Okay.
And if you ask anybody who has made a decent amount of money, I'm not a great businessman. I'm an average businessman. That's another thing that irritated me. I didn't feel like I was doing great at business. I was doing fine at business. I felt like I had more in me. I felt like I could contribute more to the world. And you can see I'm not a money motivated guy. I never really have been. It's never been about the money. It's about building and creating. And when that happened, when that recession happened, and all of this pain that I was inflicting on our employees, and I had to fire my own mother-in-law. It's Crazyville.
How did that go?
Yeah.
Hey, good. She's moving in.
How did that go?
We have a duplex. She's moving in downstairs, so she still loves me. I think.
You're fired, but you can move in with us.
Yeah. Well, 10 years later, So it sucks, man. And then what happened was I was looking for something different, and then eventually I tried to run unsuccessfly for mayor of Akron.
Okay.
And that got me connected to the homeless of Akron, because what I was running as an independent, and you need over over 1,000 signatures. I don't know how many it is offhand anymore. And I don't know if you've ever tried to run for office, but I challenge you to go out on the streets of any town and ask for a signature. People don't understand this signature process.
What's that?
You know, on one hand, they're
What's
like,
the
we want
signature?
choice. And then the other hand, they're like, I'm not voting for you. And I'm like, man, you're not voting for me. You're just getting a choice. You said you wanted a choice. I'm the choice guy now. And they're like, well, no. I mean, it's a nightmare to get signatures for anything.
Okay.
But you know who loved me? The homeless. The homeless loved me.
Okay.
Because they care about their city, because they live on the streets of their city. Their city affects them. It's a one-to-one relationship. What their city does is how they exist. And they have a lot of thoughts, a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience in the city. And I just got hooked, man.
Okay. And so then the next evolution was, I'm assuming you had to start like a nonprofit business, right? I mean, how did that?
Okay. So I failed. You know, I'm not mayor. You might be surprised by that, but I'm not.
Were you
Yes.
were you running against Big Don?
No, Big Don left, and that's why I felt there was an opening. I'm like, well, you know, the king has resigned and peed on the university. He's out. I don't think he's coming back for a while. And so I'm like, it's an open game. Let's try it. Let's try it. So I ran against Horrigan, and I learned a lot about Akron politics, which is amazingly corrupt. The most corruption you've ever experienced in your life. I'm ready to go, man. Let's talk about it all.
Wow.
So anyways, yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Disclaimer. Go ahead.
What?
The views on this show.
It's me. Not you. Look,
the
I'm a
views
loose
shared
cannon.
here are not those.
What
those
you think?
of
You
330 to go.
think the politics of Akron is pure
No,
and
absolutely
unadulterated?
not. Absolutely not.
We don't.
Are you kidding?
No.
But we got to play in that sandbox, right? So I mean,
we have to play
But
nice.
you're an American. You've got your own podcast. You stand up for what you believe.
This is true. All right, so you lost, okay?
Of course I lost.
And it was
You see me? You think I could win? Does this kind of voice win anything? No.
Can we vote for him now?
I love you.
All right.
Sage is on fire right now.
I told you I was going to break the internet.
Hey, you did.
I told you
did.
when this goes down, I'm breaking the internet. It is coming. I'm just getting ready. I'm just warming up.
Wow, Ric Flair in the
All right.
Yeah, man.
So I got tears in my eyes. Hold on.
I know, this is great.
Come on.
All right. So you get the idea to do what? What was the first step?
I go back to my little businesses, and in the meantime, I had become an auctioneer, and so
You have that voice. I can see that.
I'm good at that.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
surprising. Anyways, so I was doing auctions, and what happens is when you have an auction, people will give you their stuff, and then they have a choice that some stuff doesn't sell. And so a lot of times they're just like, forget it, we don't want it. And so what I was going to do was just take it over to Goodwill. But I had been hiring these homeless people to work at our auction. And they said, hey, man, could we try and sell that? And that was our first foray into working with the homeless. And they created something called Second Chance Store, and it still exists today.
Okay.
So there's a thrift store on the ground level of 15 Broad Street. Anybody can go in there. If you don't have money, like say you just got into a house. So one of the things you might not know is if you get subsidized housing, or you've been homeless and they put you in a house, you walk into an empty shell. There is nothing. You have nothing. You don't have a fork. You don't have a plate. You certainly don't have a bed. There is not a glass anywhere. You have nothing. And so we supply that stuff for a lot of these people. They come to us. So if you need stuff, you can come and take it. If you want something and you have some money, you can leave a donation. Okay. And it's all homeless run. Everything about Second Chance Village is by the homeless for the homeless.
It was actually a pretty good setup when I saw it.
You saw the store?
I did see the store. That was one of the areas that we looked at, and very eye-opening. Just there was stuff. I mean, and like I had said to Lori during the interview, I said, this is one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah.
Is it like a Goodwill type setup?
It's set up in two, if I remember correctly, it's in two different types of the basement downstairs.
Okay.
And it's set up just like any normal,
like a little thrift
like
store.
a consignment shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first step.
Yeah. Okay, so we're doing that, and we're like, oh, that's cool. It's like it's a compatible thing. I do an auction. There's leftover stuff. They take the stuff, but then January 7th, of 2016, 17, I don't know now, 16, Freedom Trail came in and kicked out homeless from an encampment that had been living there for years. And this is January 7th. It's freezing. And the Metro Parks and the city come in and say, look, you got to leave. We're building this trail and you can't stay here. And that's completely legal in any city in America. You can take somebody that's living somewhere, has been living there for years, and well, Akron now, because of one of our attorneys, Becky Shremak, has a law that now they get 7 days. So it's not like if I'll tell you something. If you go into an abandoned house and set up shop, you have to be evicted like a regular eviction.
Right.
So it's the 30-day process. You have all the legal rights of a tenant, the whole thing. If you're in a tent and have been in a tent for 10 years, they can come by and before this law kick you out in 24 hours and take your stuff.
Is it like a squatting regulation or something?
You mean which one?
Well, you remember this was what, almost 10 years ago now. You remember that guy that lived on the church front yard?
Yes.
I'm assuming all these things are all tied together, all these regulations.
That's right. So you have zoning laws, you have conditional use applications, which what we're doing now. There's occupancy permits of what you're allowed to do in your building. You can have a building that is zoned for multifamily, but if you don't have the occupancy permit to allow that, like it doesn't meet the standards of the occupancy permit, you can't just open up apartments in there. It's at least a double layer process,
Okay.
So
Kate got you.
Oh my God! I got my hot tea.
Okay.
But you know what? No, I'm multi-beveraged. So
okay.
Thank you.
I love that. Multi-beverage.
I used to be an alcoholic. I love drinking, so I just turned it to tea and water.
All right.
Sometimes Diet Coke.
Okay.
When I'm living large.
All right. So, so evolution-wise, then the next stage was okay. Now we're getting involved with people that are getting kicked out of tents for no reason.
Yeah, they had nowhere to go, and they came to us.
And then you said, "What do we do?"
You know what I said? I said nothing. All I said was all I attribute the greatest contribution that I've done is I didn't say no.
Okay.
These were people that were working with me down in the auction, and they're like, hey man, we have no place to go. Can we stay here for a little while? And I said, sure. And I just went back upstairs and went to work. And then I went downstairs one day and there's a guy, they found a guy, he was our first, his name is Gary. He comes to us off and on. He was sleeping outdoors in a Winnie the Pooh children's tent. If you go to Toys R Us, that's what he had, a Winnie the Pooh Toys R Us, middle of winter. And he brought that from a hill that he was living on down into our facility. And he just, not inside, outside. And he was our first tent. And I just went back upstairs. And all I did was allow them to create something. And that was my first revelation that we completely misunderstand the homeless. We look at these people like you were talking about panhandlers, and we think of them, we have stereotypes, we have impressions of them, and I'm telling you 100% they are wrong. You try and grind out a living on panhandling. Try it for a day. I've done it.
I saw that video.
You will be definitely verbally abused,
exhausted.
Yeah, and you could very likely be physically abused. Yeah, these people get robbed constantly. So it is dangerous. It is humiliating. It is demoralizing. It is dehumanizing. And that is what they can do. One of these people, I was on a show yesterday, and it was like a Facebook Live thing, and they're like, they should get a job. And I was thinking, you know what you should do, buddy? You should become rich. Why don't you become rich? Why don't you just, why don't you get a big yacht? Why don't you start getting a bunch of houses? Why don't you start becoming a real estate developer? Oh, it's not that easy? Really? Oh, you living paycheck to paycheck? Well, isn't that your choice? Didn't you choose to live paycheck to paycheck? Oh, you didn't? Oh, wow. So like these simple things, get a job, they infuriate me because you have no idea. So, I have there's a guy, a panhandler, full-time panhandler. He can't get a job because he has seizures. Yeah. He has like 5 to 10 seizures sometimes a day. And what he's capable of doing is physical labor. He can't go on a roof. You can't have seizures on a roof. Nobody will hire him.
Right.
These people have mental issues, physical issues. These people, I would say 100% of the people that live with us have diagnosed mental health issues. That's why they're there. And everything else is compounded on that. They have parents that hate them, beat them, have raped them, abused them. They come from the worst hell you can imagine. And then we come out and say, get a job. And that makes me mad.
Yeah. Well, and again, you're allowed to get mad. And you heard what I said earlier. And it
okay, yeah,
because,
I would like to talk about it.
Because we're stuck in like kind of what you said, right? I got 4 kids. I work 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And it's literally paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you buy some more property?
Right. So I mean,
why don't you get a Mercedes?
Yeah.
What are you doing, man? It's your choice not to be rich. Ask Donald Trump.
Why don't you get a Mercedes?
I could.
Come on,
for one day.
You should do it. It's your choice to be like this.
Right, and that's
you've chosen to be homeless.
That's the thing, right? So we're in that rat race. We're spinning on the wheel, right? And trying to chase the cheese.
Yeah.
But in doing that, we drive right past those people.
Yes.
Yep. Just drive right
past.
And then you know the rules. The rules is if you look up, you got to engage. So what you naturally do is you look at your radio, you look into your phone, you talk to your spouse, and you avoid making eye contact at the risk of you feeling guilty.
Guilty. Well, you already feel guilty. And now you have people that come to us. Like, I've had multiple people tell me that they have walked in our door just to prepare to kill themselves. And the reason is they've lost all dignity. You as a homeless person walk around and everybody looks away and they have shunned you with their eyes. Society has shunned you.
Didn't Lori tell you that story?
She did.
Lori told him that one of the guys, she said to Lori that she had the most beautiful eyes he'd seen in years.
Yeah.
And it wasn't him hitting on her.
No.
It was the fact that nobody looked at him.
Nobody looks at him. Yeah. And you can't realize that. Imagine you're standing on the street all day, every day, and days go by that no one looks at you.
Yeah.
Imagine what that's got to feel like.
All right.
You are no longer a human.
So all right. So then we'll get back to that in a second. But so I want to focus on the village just for a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So what was the next step then? I mean, people the word was out, so people just kept showing up?
Yeah. So they just kept showing up. And we realized that there was a need, that these people had nowhere else to go. And that is a misbelief by some people that, they've got places to go. They can go to the Haven Arrest. And may I say, I have nothing against the Haven Arrest. I'm very thankful for their work. But for you to believe that every single homeless person in Akron can just go to the Haven Arrest is completely misguided. There are people that have been kicked out of the Haven Arrest. There are people that can't meet their requirements. There are many, many reasons why people can't go and stay at the Haven Arrest. A lot of people.
We have a comment from someone. Jess out there says that a lot of times people end up getting a criminal history just from being homeless.
Yes.
And what that does is it affects their ability to then either get housing or to stay at the Haven Arrest.
100%. So criminal backgrounds, if you get evicted, try and get an apartment. So, okay, imagine this. You have an eviction and a felony. Where are you going to go? Nobody is hiring you. Nobody is renting to you. I have a guy that I work with that has a sex offender background, and I won't go into the details, but I don't want to get into details, but I'm telling you, it was very minor, and it's a weird situation. No work ever again. There's no job ever again. That's on his background forever. He will never work again.
Well, okay, there's a lot of Debbie.
I'm sorry.
A lot of Debbie Downer going on right now.
Yeah,
but it is. That's the topic, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So then people start showing up. Tents start going up.
That's right.
And you're like, this is a thing.
It's a thing. It's a needed thing.
Yeah.
And there were no models that we could replicate. This is a revolutionary type of thing. There are tent cities in America, but they're all kind of at this point just starting out. I think this is your delivery too. And it's not. No, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
This is gonna be awesome. We got to get them on the podcast. I love it.
This is crazy.
It has
It's gonna
happened.
be good. I can't wait.
You did it. You called it.
Which way are they coming in? All right, back door. And what are you doing with the dog?
And he's
Sold
been
the dog,
sold.
yeah.
Oh man!
So,
all right. I'm listening.
All right. So it was very relaxed at that point in time. So one of the very early rules was you could do nothing illegal. So you can't do drugs here. You can't sell drugs here. There's, none of that. There cannot be any illegal behavior. We will turn you in. But we said, well, drinking is legal. And some of these people want to have a few beers. And we had a campfire at the time. And so that was our first acceptance of what we were doing. And that was a nightmare. Drinking and a campfire with homeless people is crazyville. Never do that. When you start yours, man, do not allow drinking in a campfire.
I wouldn't think that would be a thing allowed. I
What?
just imagine.
What?
Well, and
Where were you?
you know
when
why?
I was
Because
doing this?
here's my thought. You're not. I've seen the video. I haven't been down there yet.
Yeah.
But you're in a closed.
Yeah.
You're in a closed environment.
Yeah.
So it's not like.
What?
Yeah.
You don't think that's a good idea?
It's not a good
I'm
idea.
telling you.
You don't know where
I'm
they're.
telling
You
you.
don't know these people's backgrounds.
What?
I mean.
I'm telling you, where were you? You could have been there. You could have saved me. The day we quit was the day we walked in the back and there was a guy we didn't know passed out in the campfire ring. And we're like, this isn't right.
Woosah.
This isn't right. So then we stopped.
Woosah.
Yeah.
So, and one of the other reasons we quit that was because we started getting a waiting list. So people were coming to us wanting to get a space, and we were having to turn people away, and we still do to this day. And so we, at that point, decided that we were going to be a place that helped the people that wanted to take the next step in their life. So we became a drug-free, well, we were always a drug-free facility. We became an alcohol-free facility.
Okay.
We removed, the fire department had us remove all open flame. We can't even have as much as a tiki torch back there or a candle, anything.
No grill, though?
No, 15 feet from the building. So we do have a grill that sometimes we pull out, but we do it up from the front, way far away from everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and so that was the start of what became our code of conduct that they created. So they've created a code of conduct that when you come to our facility, you meet with the democratically elected tri-council. There's 3 people that have been elected in the village that meet you and show you around and determine if you're going to be a good fit for the community. And so they determine whether or not you can come in, if you can become a part of the village. And so it has become quite a sophisticated thing. So now we have our own security. We have 20 cameras. There's the tri-council. There's, we have the people that live with us. They run everything. They run the laundry, the kitchen. We have IT people. We have a Microsoft certified guy. We have everything. So, I mean, I sometimes believe that you could take these 35 people, put them on Mars, and you would be able to colonize Mars with these people. We have everything.
So it truly is the village concept.
It's amazing. Yeah. Plumbers, electricians, carpenters.
So, so from that standpoint, I don't know how this will sound. It's a resume item. I mean, if they want to use this to say, try and get a job.
Yeah. Yes.
I've been helping run this village.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yes.
Almost like an apprenticeship per se.
Yes.
But again, it comes down to their backgrounds and how are they perceived and all that kind of thing.
I got a 3.5 grade average from Baldwin Wallace College, and no one hired me. I couldn't get a customer service job. I am not hireable. I don't know if this comes across, but I am not a guy that you want in your company. Okay.
Never would have guessed that.
I know. I was a bartender. I became a bartender. Okay.
Hey, here's another comment.
Yeah.
It says alcohol,
Yeah.
campfires, and mental illness.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Where were you people? Where were you? Everybody's a Monday morning quarterback.
So Jeff, not Jeff, but Jess.
Everybody.
Jess brings up a point too, and she says homeless people weren't always homeless.
Yes.
And it's important to remember that, right? So
Yes.
so then it's almost like you're thrust into this situation, and now you're expected to adapt to something that you're completely, totally not used to.
Yes.
And whether or not there's resources available, I would assume. And I don't have a statistic on this. You probably know it more than me. I would assume there's a brief window period where it's adjustment versus suicide type thing. As far as, you either go one way or the other very quickly, I would think.
I mean, we're at the bottom of these people's lives. I believe we're at the beginning of their lives. It's a rebirth. It's a, it's that kind of thing. I see it as a new beginning for them, but they see it as the very bottom. And so these people have, everything's gone. Their family is gone. Their job is gone. They've lost all their IDs. So they have no social security card, no ID, no birth certificate. They have nothing. They are invisible. They are gone from society. And so when you go to a shelter is oftentimes a place that you would just store cattle. It is not humanizing. It is not about rehabilitation. It is food and shelter, and then get out in the morning. And that, what I've learned is that a human needs more than food and shelter, and primarily they need dignity. You will scrimp and save and grind to eat, to get food and to get shelter. But when you've lost your dignity, that's when you start thinking about tapping out. Yeah. Dignity is no joke to a human. We all have it, so we don't know. We're so far above the idea of not having dignity that you can't even imagine what it's like to not have it. But these people don't have it. They've lost all dignity, and that becomes a point at which you're like, it's not worth living.
Yeah. So, okay. Where are we? All right. So I'm not. I shouldn't even ask.
Come on,
question.
do
I
it.
shouldn't ask it.
Do it. Ask it.
Yes,
don't be
you
afraid.
better.
I'm afraid.
Because if you don't, I will.
All right. Well, let's.
Come on. I want all this. I want it all.
Let's go with the positive one first.
All right. Hit the positive
right
one.
now,
I'll
you
hit the negative.
you got a Kickstarter program going.
Well, it's a GoFundMe.
Yeah, GoFundMe. Yeah. GoFundMe. Okay.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Point being, where are you with that? What
Yeah.
is it? What's it going to accomplish?
Yeah.
And how much time is left?
Yeah, well, we have different kinds of campaigns going all the time. So one of the things that we've done right now is 30 days of We Love Akron. So we had gotten a letter, it is now 30 days, just about 30 days, from the city that said, you either shut down or you submit your conditional use application. And so, of course, we're not shutting down. And so we wanted to remind people that the homeless are not just cast away dirt and garbage, which is pretty much what it looks like when you see them that we've done to them. We've just left them stranded under bridges and in ditches. And so that's what it looks like. And what I'm here to tell you is these are amazing people. And so one of the things we've been doing is going around cleaning up other homeless encampments. So, a lady recently said, well, why don't the homeless clean up after themselves? Well, that's pretty simple, actually. They don't have trash bags. They don't have trash cans. They don't have trash service. They don't have a porta potty. They have nothing. These are people. We have people, a great many people in Akron that are living on less than $1 a day. Some just zero money. And that puts them in the most extreme poor of the world. They can't afford to get on a bus. So there's no way they're going to pick up a trash bag. There's just, and nobody's giving it to them. Nobody's helping. We just all look down and move on. And, and I don't know, accuse them of doing this to themselves, I guess. I don't know what we're doing in our head. But so we are out letting people know that the homeless are useful and care about their community very seriously, and care about their brothers and sisters on the street and really the whole society. I mean, they're very loving people, actually. So yeah, that's what we got going on.
Is that a washer?
You're getting a new washer?
Sounds like
dragged out.
Sounds like.
Are you selling the old one? Because we need one.
I think they take it.
What?
It's part of the thing.
Does it still work?
No.
Can we scrap it?
20 years old.
One of the things we do a lot of scrapping. So you shouldn't take that. We should recycle it.
I think they took it.
Oh,
it's all part of the
they're
thing.
going to go re-scrap it. You can get like $10 for that, man.
It's Home Depot, man.
You got a truck.
Wow.
You should take that down to holdups scrapyard. May I say best scrapyard in
I
Akron.
did it before where with the fence stuff and you load up the truck and
do
and
it.
they pull the thing and it just takes it right
Oh,
out.
it's awesome. You should take your kids down there.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. They're great recyclers, the homeless.
So where well, and it's funny, right? Because we see not funny. I hate saying that word.
That's a bad. Yeah.
The point is, we see the the trash goes out on Tuesday night, and we see the trucks come by, right?
Yeah.
And it's boom, boom, boom. And they're piled.
Yeah.
And it's usually a 90-year-old pickup truck, and it's piled to the ceiling.
That's a scrapper.
Yeah.
All
right. So where? And I'm going to ask this.
Come on, do it.
I'm going to ask it.
Do it, man.
Hey, Sage.
Yes, sir.
Where are you at right now with the city of Akron?
Well, right now I'm over by a park on the west side of Akron. Where? Okay, you want to know where I stand?
Where is the
no.
village right now with the city of Akron?
Okay, why are you worried about that question? That's a very milquetoast easy question.
I just based on
Come
previous,
Based on previous
on
reaction?
No. Look, I love Akron,
All right,
and I'm going to tell you, just as you don't have to be a rule of being patriotic to your city or to your state or your country is not some sort of universal allegiance. We love everything. The most patriotic people in the world are the ones that fight to make it better. You got to call it out. You can't just line up and be like, we believe in whatever we're supposed to believe. That is not how America has worked. I mean, that's how we changed slavery. Could you imagine if we were all like, well, we shouldn't make any waves. I mean, slavery, it's got some serious pros to it. No, we're changing all the time. We're fighting. We agitate. Look at Martin Luther King Jr., what he has done for civil rights in America. We have to be willing to get in there and stand up for what we believe. That is America. That is Ohio, and that is Akron. I love Akron. I love Akron. And I honestly, truthfully believe this is going to happen in Akron, that we are going to take the next step in the homeless crisis and epidemic that is in America. I believe it is going to change right here in Akron, just as we had AA. AA was started right here in Akron. The homeless revolution is going to be known in history as starting right here in Akron. So I love it. We're doing it.
You could be Dr. Bob.
I could be, but I don't have a doctor, and I don't know what I'm going to be. I could be a hat guy. I'll be hat guy.
The hat guy.
Yeah.
Right.
So I love it.
All right. So right now, you guys are where you're at.
Yes.
You're pretty sure we're going to stay there, right? For now.
There was a council. There was a council meeting on Monday.
Well, and that's the thing. If not there, where? Okay. Is the next question.
So logistically, the way it works is we have submitted our conditional use permit, and they could move it through the different departments as quick as a month. So we could be voting on this, sometime in May. And if they vote no, they could start fining us, and I've seen cities fine as much as $2,000 a day.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, but what I will tell you is we are not quitting. We are not giving up. This is something that we cannot allow the homeless of America to disappear back into the woods again, because that benefits the government. That benefits those establishments where we don't have to see them. When we don't have to see the homeless, then there's no problem according to the government. And we are not allowing the homeless to go and disappear into the woods again. So we're not quitting. And we have a lot of options. I mean, look, I'm a student of activism and social justice. I've studied a lot of these people, and there are a lot of tools. There are a lot of ways that we can go. And I will say also that I can't officially announce all of what is happening, but I can tell you this: there are some very powerful resources and money and organizations coming to Akron. And I think they anticipate that Akron isn't going to do the right thing, that they're going to say shut down, and it's going to be serious.
Well, so that being said, there right now you guys have a capacity, right?
Yeah.
There's only X number of people that could stay. Okay.
100%.
But I would assume the goal would be to create more villages.
That's a great goal.
And to so here's how I always, when we did all our stuff on guns and school safety and all that, my statement was always think globally,
yes,
act locally.
Bam, that's right.
And in this scenario, if you were to replicate what you have right now,
yes,
except do it with maybe some structures, okay?
Yeah.
Then you can literally radiate out around Akron and at least tackle the problem from the Akron level.
Yes.
And then other cities can say, look what Akron's doing.
Yes.
And that's how it spreads.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, look at the bus boycotts, the Rosa Parks. That happened in one city, and that changed everything. That changed everything.
Right.
So, yeah, it always happens locally. So let me talk, if I may, about structures versus tents. So and so what I can tell you is that tents are I don't like seeing Americans. I don't like seeing any humans in tents. But we see refugee tent encampments. They're in Syria right now, and I mean they're out there. They're all over. But it embarrasses me that Americans have to stay in a tent. It's embarrassing, if you ask me. I would like to see better structures.
Considering we're the greatest country in the world.
We have a $17 trillion gross domestic product, and we have Americans in tents?
Right.
How ghetto can we get? What are we doing?
I'm not laughing. It's just
No, laugh,
it's
man.
so
It's
absurd.
sad
It's so
laughter.
absurd.
$17 trillion. You can't put up a little shack for these people?
Right.
Ugh,
All right. So
it's ridiculous. But wait,
go on. Go on.
So, but what I'm going to tell you is you can go to Walmart and buy them out of tents. Buy 20 tents at Walmart. So they're $50 each. So you're at $1,000. And now you have 20 places that people have shelter in. Two homeless people died of exposure in Cleveland this year. They were just out. And like, you saw that guy, you were telling that story about the guy on the grate. Yeah. As I was reading that, I'm like, oh, wow, that guy's really lucky he got a grate. I mean, that's how I think now. Right. I'm like, wow, that guy's doing good. He got a grate. Yeah. Because Andy, it sounded like he had a sleeping bag. Look, man, I'm telling you, we had a guy walk into us from the street in shorts and short sleeves in January. Nothing. There are people that don't know how to be homeless. They become homeless and they don't know what to do.
That's what I said earlier. I mean, once it happens, you've got a very short window, right?
Yeah.
As far as whether
if you go
survive
homeless in January, you're dead.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what to do.
Well, all right. So I want you to coach Akron right now.
Yes.
Let me set the table here.
Okay.
So my day job, my office is in Barberton. And we're in one of the historic Barberton buildings. It's Alexander Commons. So it's really
beautiful.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
Wood floors, brick, open space.
And it's haunted.
And it's haunted. Yes, thank you.
Sweet.
Roddy was there. All right, so
what?
There is a homeless man that frequents the building.
Inside?
Inside.
Okay.
So he's there every day.
Inside. He comes inside?
Every day. Yeah. So here's the deal. He's I'd put him at late 30s, early 40s.
Okay.
He's well dressed as far as warmth.
Okay.
When you think of homeless, you think he's got a good heavy winter coat, heavy pants, nice boots.
Yeah.
Carries his stuff in 2 trash bags.
Garbage bags, sure.
He's either out front of the building or inside the building, sitting at a table, looking out a window.
Huh.
Every day.
Every day.
I walk by him.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
He will not acknowledge me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's probably autistic.
He will not acknowledge me.
Yeah.
So he's literally, he likes his like this.
Sure.
And he's looking out the window.
Probably severe mental health issues.
Got his stuff. So from a coachability standpoint, and you're talking to Akron, you're talking to our range is growing, by the way. So let's just say you're talking to all of Ohio right now.
Yeah.
How do you coach someone that is just normal Joe like me?
Yeah.
To go and approach a homeless person, and technique-wise, what do you say?
Yeah.
What do you ask? Then what's your next step?
Yeah.
And don't be offended if they tell you to piss off.
Right. The closest analogy I can come to is imagining that you're trying to make friends with a feral cat. So let's say you have a cat in your backyard. You're like, you're so cute, and you're like, we maybe don't want him to move in the house, but, he's looking skinny and maybe, we would like him to be a friend of the family. So one of the easiest things, and it's universal, and we do it in Christianity. I mean, food is a great uniter. It's a great uniter. So, so what you can do, and what I would maybe suggest is, to ask him, be like, hey man, are you hungry or anything? Can I get you something? And see if he says anything. But you have to understand that a lot of these people, I mean, this guy could be bipolar, he could be schizophrenic, he could be autistic, and he could have all of the above, and he could be addicted to something. Now, he sounds like he's probably not on meth, because a meth guy, he'll like mow the lawn, he'll like sweep the sidewalk. Those are great guys. You'd be like, hey man, I'll give you $5 if you sweep that sidewalk all day, and they'll do it. So but he doesn't sound like that. Is he a heroin guy? It could be. It sounds like that could be a possibility. Opiates are are it's crazy. We are being overrun by opiate users. So he could be on that spectrum of opiates of some sort. But I'm telling you, you will change your life and change his life if you just say, hey man, can I get you anything? You have just shattered the class boundaries of America. You have connected with someone, and maybe you won't. I mean, he might be like, you know, he might grumble at you. He might, I don't know what he's going to be like. But then you're like, all right, cool, man. And then do it the next day. Like, hey, man, I'm going out to lunch. Can I get you a burger at, you know, $1 cheeseburger?
Yeah.
Just, well, I mean, you will love it.
It's interesting because where he sets up,
yeah.
You remember Bunny Bees, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Bunny Bees is this. Have you eaten at Bunny Bees?
No. Is it good?
Oh, you need
it's
to.
Fantastic.
Okay, is it great? Okay.
She does one meal a week.
Really?
It's just lunch on
really?
Friday. That's it.
One day.
One day.
That's genius. She must be packed.
And it's packed.
She's a genius.
And it's packed, and she will
so
take
good.
something that like
She takes a normal dish and makes it better.
For Bunny Bees, but she takes something that like, you would just make, and you're like, there's no way I would make it that way.
Yeah,
it throws a whole bunch of stuff.
She made a grilled cheese sandwich that
he
was
never
like,
is
phenomenal.
around that day. Like the natural thing would be okay, where he sets up shop is right outside Bunny Bees.
Yeah.
It's a $6 meal.
Yeah.
It'd be great to just get him a $6 meal.
Oh.
And just set it out there.
Yeah.
That's the one day he doesn't come by.
Maybe it's too many people.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this guy is scared. I'm telling you, he's a feral cat. I mean, you can't intimidate these people. You can't just run up to a feral cat and just start petting its head. Yeah. I mean, that's too much.
Yeah.
Like, he has to build trust. He's afraid of you. He's afraid of everything.
Because they've been beat up by society.
They've been beat up. They're going to be shooed off. All you have to do, man, is call the cops. Just make one quick call, and they'll come and shoo him off, and he'll be gone forever. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's a miracle somebody hasn't already done it.
He does, honestly, he doesn't bother anybody.
That's awesome.
And I think because that whole floor is all ladies.
Yeah.
You got hairdresser, and then you got ladies that run a print shop down there.
Yeah.
And then a Mexican restaurant right there.
Yeah.
Nobody ever bothers you.
Let me tell you something. I'm not a religious guy. Okay. I think a lot about spirituality and religion. I love it. And my spirituality currently is a very complicated topic. It's irrelevant. But what I'm going to tell you is I like to think of that as like Jesus himself waiting for you to talk to him. Like it's a test from God himself. That guy is standing there to wait for you to talk to God, and you ignore him. I'm not excusing you. We ignore him. We ignore God every day.
I think a lot of it is because our natural tendency is to engage people when we're engaged.
Yeah.
And when he with the body language that he gives off, I think that's why because I'm a slightly less outgoing version of you. Okay. Would we all agree on that?
I love it.
Wow.
The point is,
and I've been trying to stay subdued.
I'm outgoing, right? And I am hesitant to approach him because he gives the vibe of I don't want to talk to you.
Yes.
So
I don't know if you're.
I'll try it tomorrow.
Okay.
Hey, I will do it this week.
Will you?
I'll let you know how it
report
goes.
back and just be real chill about it. Be like, hey man, can I get you anything? Can I get you a burger or anything?
Right.
Don't go. Just chill and calm. Look, my wife is an introvert, and if you're still there, honey, I love you. And
but I'm about to talk about you.
But she is an introvert, and I'm telling you, she will behave very similarly to that guy. She'll be if she's at a table, like say she's at a networking event, which is like just pure hell for her. She will sit and I conned her into going to a networking event by herself. She will sit at that table with her phone and just look down and because she is terrified.
It's a natural out.
Terrified.
Yeah. Look around. Look behind you.
Are you the woman? Are
That's
you that?
Kate.
See?
Kate's the same way.
See? Yeah. And
Kate doesn't like people.
Yeah, right. Yeah. My wife I think likes people, but she doesn't like that whole thing.
Wait, did I say that out loud?
No, that's good. That's good. No, it's fair. It's
Horrible.
fair.
Horrible.
So
horrible.
no, I'm telling you, just try it and just think of it. Just remind yourself of what introducing yourself to say a feral cat or even a wild stallion, like a wild horse.
I've never heard that description before. That's why I'm glad I asked you that question.
Thank you. I want every question to be asked. I want every stereotype to be discussed.
So Catherine Duffy here says another added dimension is for women, it's fear. She said, She was followed a bit by a mentally ill homeless man, and on her way into the office this morning, while although she's compassionate, she's afraid.
Yeah.
Because, you don't know how the guy's going to react and
Yeah.
stuff. So that's a good point.
That's a good one. And I would like to mention, which I don't think we talk a lot about, are homeless women that are living on the street alone. And a lot of them have come there. The number one reason women become homeless is domestic abuse. So they've been abused, and then they go on the street. They oftentimes get raped, and then, to make matters worse, then somebody turns them out as a prostitute. It is hell on earth for women as homeless, and there are many of them. Many of them. So, yeah, this is what I would do. Don't do anything you don't want to do, okay? Like, if you have, it's an interesting thing. You sound like you've been processing this guy, thinking about this guy. And so this is an exciting adventure for you. Think about it, not what you're doing for him. Think about what you're doing for yourself. It's growing as a human. And I don't know if you're a Christian person, but if you happen to be, think about how you're growing as a Christian, or whatever spirituality you are. You're expanding your universe. And just be selfish about it. Like, hey, what if I connect with somebody that currently looks unconnected? He's unplugged. He's just out in outer space. His body is there, but he is not connected to anyone. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But look, if you feel creeped out by the homeless and you're not into it, find what you love. If you love animals, go and volunteer with animals. If you love the environment, plant trees. I'm telling you, we are now in an era, I believe we're in a post-capitalistic era, where we have to find what we truly love, because we are not going to be rich anymore. That was a blip on the radar after World War II. Middle class is a fallacy and an illusion. We are all going to have to recalibrate what it means to lead a successful life. And I'm telling you, connecting with other people and what matters to you is the path.
Amen. Wow. All right, so we do have another guest here. Did he want to come on today? You want to come on and talk about it, or maybe 5 minutes?
Give him 5 minutes.
All right, so before that,
yes.
Close down your part. What's the last thing that you want to say to Akron?
Yeah. Okay, this is what I want to say to Akron. Akron is great. It started as great, it is great, and it will always be great. We can change the world, and we have changed the world repeatedly here in Akron, and we're doing it now. Don't get caught up that we're just Akron, or I'm just nobody. I can't make a difference. I'm telling you, we can make a difference, and we are at a very interesting time in American civilization where change is happening, and it's going to get really cool, and you can be a part of something that is amazing. So I love Akron. Akron is the heart of it all. We are going to change the world right here in Akron.
St. Louis, everybody.
Woo!
Cowbell.
I love that.
All right. Who's next?
Wow. Next, please.
This is Dave.
This is Dave.
This is Dave. Dave. All right.
Hi, Dave.
Hey. You okay?
Dude, he just blew my mind.
How about that guy, man?
Sage.
How about that
we
guy?
love you, Sage.
How about that guy? How about that guy?
Wow.
I love the fact that we have this little platform that has all of a sudden such power. We're just.
I do want to say one thing to you.
Yeah, what's that?
If you have an opportunity,
yes,
go to Second Chance Village.
I'm going to, and
we can go together.
You know my schedule the last.
I know
the last week.
It's crazy. Okay?
I will go for sure.
It was.
But and what I'd like to do is, if there's a vacancy, I like to stay.
We want that.
Wow.
And from my understanding, I think it was Lori and her son stayed.
Yes, they did.
So here's the thing. People talk about freedoms. People talk about being homeless. People talk about going to jail. Until you've been there, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And that's what it comes down to, right?
Amen, brother.
So until you've lost your freedom, until you've lost your house, until you've lost all your money, you don't know what you're talking about. So from that standpoint, you have to walk in those shoes, okay? Yep. I'll leave that right there with you.
Leave it right there.
In the meantime, let's hear for our other guest, Dave, everybody.
Woo!
All right, so Dave.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey,
Dave.
Hi.
Welcome to 3-0 to go.
Thanks.
This just kind of happened, right? So you ran into him, and then all of a sudden started talking, and the next thing you know, here we are. So you've got an announcement. There's something going on with the village, right? Per se.
Yes,
right.
we're working at it.
Tell us what's going on.
I first of all, Sage obviously is very charismatic about what he's doing, and he's passionate, and he's done some amazing things. The community that he's put together, of taking these people, understanding them. If you do go around the village with him, you'd be amazed at how he talks them up. I mean, he just makes every one of them feel golden all day long. And no, it's an amazing thing, and it's really encouraging, because I like you guys, you know, I've stepped over the homeless people on the sidewalks. I've been to the big cities. You see them everywhere, and you think to yourself, you know, somebody ought to be taking care of this mess. You know, somebody should be cleaning this up, or putting them someplace, or doing something for them, and it's just simply not being done. But at the same time, you think about, well, I give them $1, I give them $5. Hell, I can give them $100, and you know what? They're going to be there tomorrow, and it's not going to not make any difference at all. So there's this quandary over what you do about them, and I tell you what, Sage is actually doing something. He's actually in there, and he's making them feel good. He's keeping them from, you know, committing suicide or whatever else they're contemplating. The guys that are with him are staying out of jail for the most part. They've got a job, they've got a place, they're getting their IDs back. Hell, he's had a couple of them actually move on into low-income housing, getting jobs and stuff. I mean, his rehabilitation plan is already working. So to say, you know, that you know, it shouldn't be happening, or he's not doing it right, or whatever, I tell you what, he's doing amazing work, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that. So
okay.
I'm coming at it from a different point of view. I don't have his gift. I don't have his, you know, ability to talk to people. I wouldn't say I don't like them, but you know, I think people are cool.
People are okay
for the most part. You know, just leave me alone. But you know, the thing is that I was talking with my wife, and she's talking about passage in the Bible. I happen to be a Christian, and it's Matthew 25, and it talks about Jesus separating the sheep and the goats, and he goes on to explain what the sheep and goats are. You know, the sheep are the ones that take care of the poor. They're the ones that are feeding them. They're caring for them. They're clothing them. They're giving them shelter. They're welcoming them in. And the goats don't do anything. And at the end of the story, the sheep come in and the goats get kicked out. And I'm assuming that being a sheep is good and being a goat is bad. I want to be sheep. So I had to start thinking about that. What am I going to do? And one of the things I happen to be able to do from owning homes and doing a lot of renovation stuff, I can build a shelter. So I did. And we have a guy living out in the woods in one of my shelters now, and apparently he loves it, and it's a good thing. And what we're trying to do right now, what I'm trying to do, I've got a charity of my own. It's People for Homeless, and we're trying to build shelters. I've got another plan underway right now that's almost finalized. I've got actually a local church coming in. They're going to build and fund 4 to 5 of them themselves. I've got donations that have come in that are going to cover another half a dozen of these. I potentially could have maybe 24 or so built by the end of May. The only problem is I have no place to put them. So I am at a little bit of an interesting spot. Sage and I have talked several times about this. I'm trying to find real estate and trying to get cooperation from the city to actually set them up. Okay. I think if he has the right facility, what he's done with his community, I mean, we're talking about a dynamic duo, and something that could be modeled and replicated elsewhere.
So, in other words, it's kind of like the whole tiny home type situation, right? But a little more primitive.
It is definitely more primitive because homes require plumbing and utilities, and this would not have those. The city of Akron, I've already talked to, and they want to do something called a conditional use campsite. in this campsite, I would be able to have a certain number of these that would have a main building accessible, which in the main building, then there would be restrooms and showers and laundry, kitchen, there would be garbage service, there'd be those kind of things there. And these shelters, as I would call them,
mini cabins.
Yeah. Almost like what you would find if you're hiking the Appalachian Trail. They have cabins, but they are usually located around a lodge, and the lodge is what has utilities and heat and that kind of thing.
Sure.
So it's a way of getting out of the tent and into something a little bit more substantial, and that's what we're trying to create. I mean, I've got this shelter that's 8 by 8, and it's 8 feet tall, so it's basically a cube with a slant roof. It's insulated. So even your own body heat, my daughter's a mathematician, and she said, well, even with your own body heat inside there, if it's insulated properly, it's going to warm up 10, 20 degrees overnight. So it's already on the way. If it has a power source, a little space heater would make it nice and comfortable, even in the middle of the winter.
Well, there's two parts. Where my brain goes is there's two parts to it. Number one, it's better than a tent. Number two, it can have an address.
It can definitely have an address.
So you put a number on the thing, and now, from a job application standpoint, you're at blah, blah, blah Broad Street, unit number 14.
Yep.
Exactly.
And that changes the whole dynamic and the whole perception, right? In terms of zoning, in terms of the way that things are looked at, the way the perception is, whether it's an eyesore versus whether it's a functional entity. So I look at that as a godsend. I mean, that would be amazing.
Well, and you brought up the job, something that Sage and I have talked about too, is that these guys can't get Social Security. They don't have any place to mail it. They can't get a license. They can't get they can't get anything because they don't have an address. So yeah, I mean, having a building and a site number and a cabin number, I mean, they would then be qualified actually for so much aid out there from the state, city, local, federal. Everybody has money available. The fact is, you live in a tent in the woods or under a bridge, you don't qualify for it. It's a real shame. Yeah. People that need it most can't get it because they don't have an address. Well, we could solve that.
Yeah.
And we're working to solve that. Are we not?
When you think about it, it is asininely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty well said right there.
Someone who is homeless that has no resources of any kind cannot get help because they don't have an address. I mean,
is that not the craziest thing?
Think about that, though.
Yeah, I know.
Probably the dumbest thing I've ever said in my life.
And it's reality.
And I say a lot of dumb stuff. Kate. Oh, man.
Not going to go there.
All right. Well, Dave, we got to wrap up because I think Moon Man's going to what could be potentially LeBron James' last game in a Cavs jersey at home.
Did you seriously just go there?
Hey, we know it's a possibility, right? All right, so wrap up, Dave. What last thoughts from you? What are your last statement to Akron? What do you got?
All we need is some cooperation. We need some land. We need an approval. We need some way to do this above boards so the city's happy, the community is happy, and we can actually start funneling all the resources, all the services, all the people who want to help will have a place to go and actually make a difference in the lives of these homeless people.
Do you have a website or a Facebook page or anything?
I have an email address, but no, I don't have anything.
They want Jeff and Linda want your contact information. What do you got?
I've got people, the number 4 homeless @gmail.com.
People for homeless @gmail.com.
Yep.
People.
Send me an email. Love to have any kind of help, support, resources, anything that would help would be great.
All right.
Yep.
Let's hear it for Dave, everybody. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to do that. There's that.
Whoa.
There's that. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
That was
I am very glad that we did this. I'm glad that it started with Second Chance. I'm very thankful and humbled by the opportunity to go there and do a tour. I learned a lot from that short amount of time being there, and just to see that it's actually evolving into something makes it like one of the best feelings I've ever had.
I sighed just now because I'm 43 and I feel like I suck.
How do you want me to answer that?
The reason I say that is there's so much because I'm a compassionate, loving human Christian, and there's so much more I could have done up to this point in my life that I haven't.
There's no better time than the present.
There's no better time than the present. I feel like Bill Murray at the end of Scrooged, where he's like, and you just want to have that feeling, and then you feel the love, and then you do it for them, and they can do it for you, and I feel like Bill Murray right now, right? Like these two clowns have charged me up,
Yeah.
but at this point, I'm regretting not having done more, and a lot of it again falls into that trap that we do as middle and lower middle income families, where we get bogged down in working, and then you work so much that you got to spend whatever time you have left with your family, and you don't make the time to go and help and do things like that.
Right.
Okay. So we got our challenge going with church.
We do.
And then we've got
Go and do day,
obviously
folks.
these guys have weighed heavily on us, right?
Absolutely.
So we're gonna share the snot out of this show, and I'll probably put a boost on it, I would think, and get this thing going in every direction. Let's share this with all the news outlets, because is you get to do this, right? But is this the first time you've been on a platform where you literally were given go?
Never experienced anything like this in my life.
I think he's lying with that one, but you know what I'm saying, though? We just
you're talking about your podcast?
I'm just saying where we just let you go. Just go.
I love it. I love the podcast platform.
Right.
I love it. This is the future.
Right.
You know, where you get like 5-minute snippets to like tell your whole story. That is old school.
Yeah.
This where you can talk and meet and explore for an hour.
That's what I'm talking about with the news. The news, you get like what, a minute?
You get one
sentence.
How
maybe
can
two.
How can you understand anything in
All
a
right.
minute?
Did I just bring him back on accidentally?
You did.
Sorry.
Well, no, not at all. We love Sage.
All right.
We're glad he's here.
The point is, we're going to use this show to get some action and some motion.
Let's get some stuff done, Akron.
All right. Once again, folks, we've had a lot of fun spending some time in here tonight. And if you want more information on Second Chance Village and People for Homeless, we're going to be posting those links on our page after the show. Okay?
Yep.
Next week,
it's wine, baby.
Wine. Vino.
Vino.
We discuss wineries in and around the 330, and there's going to be special guests in studio. High and Low Winery, I know, is planning on being here. There's 2 or 3 other wineries that have contacted me, and we're having the Acme wine lady in-house.
Dude, that's great.
That's fantastic.
That's going to be fun.
We got special guests coming as well. Right now, I've given away 2 seats. We've got 4 more seats available, so if you're interested, contact us, because I guarantee those seats do not last the evening.
Who wouldn't want to come sit with
We're
us?
going to have cheese, crackers, all kinds of wine, But
Absolutely.
So message us before those seats are gone. But until then, I don't know where I'm going, but there ain't no sense in being late. Say goodnight, Shirley.
Good night, Shirley.
This podcast is a copyright of Moon Garden Media.
Production by
Steve Bader.
Steve Bader.
Thanks, Moon Man.
Oh, just a lot of peanut butter. The bottom for 3-3-0.
Sage.